Let's dive into it and start with electrical and electronics company Reunert. Okay, so let's break it down by its business units. This is a company that's been around for a long time. Reunert and Lens was established in the 1880s here in Johannesburg and was involved with electricity generation and supply. Can you believe it? You think electricity problems are happening to us now? They've always been happening to us now. Nashua is the one business, so that's business equipment, like photocopiers and that sort of thing. Remember, Nashua Mobile, the telephone company, has sold its client base back to MTN and Vodacom and the likes. It's got another business called CBI, which stands for Circuit Breaker Industries. You would have seen those all over the show, in distribution boards in your homes and all sorts of places. And then it's also got a defense electronics business, Reutech, and then a couple of other bits and pieces. Market cap of this lot, 12.1 billion rand. Not a particularly highly rated company on a price-earnings ratio of only 11.6. That tells a story. We'll see the chart of the share price in a while. Dividend yield, though, comes up quite high at 5.73. So, Ron, at first, just give us an overview of what you think about this company in terms of its new direction. Assets slimmed down a little bit under new CEO Alan Dixon.
Yeah, so, it really has been moving sideways for some time. I think the most recent set of results were actually quite credible given the environment which we just outlined. And I think the management were very prescient, did a good job in the disposal of that Nashua Mobile business. That business clearly a service provider business is changing.
Just too much pressure between you, the customer, and the networks behind you.
That's right. With the reduction in call rates and the MTRs. So the operators saw much more value in the customer base than they were able to extract. So I think a very good deal done there. So they're well positioned from a cash position. I think some of the underlying businesses, again, given the environment, perform fairly well. Nashua, the automation business, office automation, did well.
Very competitive arena, though. Huh?
Yes, but a good brand, I think, good positioning. They also offer some sort of telecoms management services.
And VoIP services. That's and that correct, kind of thing, which has apparently done well.
Yes, so I think well positioned there. Again, it's interesting to see, where there's a bit more exposure to the government through Reutech, that defense
What is
business.
in there? They talk about contracts and so on. Is it like a secret that they're not allowed to tell you what the contracts are?
I think there's, a lot for Denel and
it's like missile guidance systems and.
I think there is, for some of those weapons systems, the Gripen and the various airplanes that they've been working on. I think they do some of that core electronics for that.
It's the old Greenwich defense systems business that's rebranded Reutech.
Yeah. So, and that was a weak spot, I think, in their results. The rest are fairly positive. Difficult to get too excited, I guess.
And CBI and cables, because this is more low voltage stuff. So this is what people buy in order to wire up houses and factories and that kind of thing. And then the cables is the sort of range of different electrical cables, including also a JV, I think, that makes optic fiber cables.
That's correct, yeah, fiber optics.
So that seems like a reasonable business to be in.
Yes, and if you saw those numbers, that division operating profit was up 20% in the first half. So that was quite positive. I think they've been managing margins. I think lowering copper prices does benefit them in terms of input costs. Right. So I think demand hasn't been massive, but been able to extract margins from that business.
Let's have a quick look at the share price, because that always tells the story of not great excitement, you'd though have to say. So this is a company that's now got a bigger cash holding because of the sale. So is the new management, because new management, remember we had Bull Pretorius who was there for a long time. Then there were some brief replacements. Then when they brought Dave Rawlinson in, who's the CFO, they said, look, you've got to kind of get the show on the road. But now they've taken a guy, Alan Dixon, who is a lifer in the business. He's 44, he's been there 17 years. What's he going to do? What's the plan here? Are they just going to deepen the case for each business, or do you think this is a situation now when they're going to do something transformative and go global or buy some other businesses? What's the game plan in your sense?
There's certainly the potential to do that. I guess you can't see too many sort of natural extensions, I guess, in their core business. There are other cable operators, obviously Altron as a business, but I think they've got a fairly decent market share, so that from a competition position would be difficult. Maybe in that telecoms management business, that's a growing area. There are opportunities there, redeploying what they had in telecoms into other areas of the telecoms sector. I think that could be potential excitement.
And CBI's business in terms of switches and so on ought to be good, although they compete with Voltex, which is a Bidvest company there. But there's a lot of potential for that in the whole of the African continent.
Yeah, and I think that's what you're seeing is decent demand in that area.
So bring it all together at current levels after a 5-year period of relative underperformance. So you hot on it or
Yeah,
not?
I think it's better positioned for performance, so I'm going to go hot.
Go hot. Okay. Well, I'm somewhat encouraged by that perspective, but I'm going to go with not hot in the sense that this has not been a group that has made anybody any money for a while.